Hello everyone, and welcome to another day of our 12 Days of Craftsmas. Although I think we have more than 12, right, Jesse? We just said 12, it's a good number, but we have lots of really great things to bring you. And today we're actually live, and this is a project that we created last year, and it was so popular that I wanted to bring it into a video so that we could make it together and just talk about how this came to be and how you can add your own personality and creativity into this project. So we also have Anna over here at the computer, and she's looking for any questions that anyone might have. Also, she can give you links of things if you need it. So go ahead and put any questions or comments right there in that comment box. I think if you're on YouTube, we need to switch, just click the link and hop over to our site so Anna can see them. Anna, do you have anything else to say?
No, just really excited to be here today.
Yeah, I am too. I spent some time yesterday prepping for this because I didn't want you to sit here and watch the paint dry literally. So I painted all my pieces ahead of time for you so that we could get to assembling all of the bits. Now, there's a lot of pieces and components to this, although it's really simple because it's mostly just all of these wood pieces, and then we have 2 colors of felt. However, for this version, I added in one more little color of felt, and I'll show you why I did that here coming up. But I added this, I can't remember the color of it right now off the top of my head, but it's this kind of golden straw color. So that is really all of the materials that we're using for this set, and then of course paint. So I used paint, and then I did use some Mod Podge. One of the things I wanted to mention, when I created this last year, I was looking to do a very minimalistic kind of Scandinavian look without any face details, and really keep it kind of in a color palette that was very minimal. And that's why I chose the natural wood color with a little gold and a little bit of a umber color, and then sort of a gray blue, because this beautiful and white, so this beautiful combination of warm and cool balances that out with your eye and makes it very peaceful feeling. However, I want you to just go crazy and make it whatever color you want. Like, add your personality into this color palette. I'll be making the same colors today. I did see an inspiration of a nativity scene in this color palette, and that's where I got the idea. It was Scandinavian. Love it, but I want you guys to put in your own personality if you want to. But I'll go ahead and share with you the colors that I chose. I'm using the Deco Art paint, and of course we have to use gold, always, always gold. I'm using the Snow White, which is titanium. I'm using a Williamsburg blue that I actually mixed down and make it a bit lighter so that it matches the felt a bit more. So this blue is a few shades darker, so just adding a bit of white can give you that color. Then I'm using this terracotta, and that one I also watered down to make it look more like a stain. I also covered all of the bits with the Mod Podge because I just wanted to have a nicer finish to it. This is a matte Mod Podge, but you could also use a gloss. I think that would be fine. So to assemble today, I can do a little bit of painting if anyone asks for it. So if you want me to show a demonstration of how I paint these little guys, just put it in the comments and I'll go ahead and pop over and do that for you. I can make the body blue. I have a few little techniques that might be helpful. So the other tools that I'll be using to assemble, I use the paintbrushes, of course, to get all the paint on and to get the Mod Podge on. I also have my handy tweezers here because sometimes when you're painting something and you need to hold it, this is a great way to do it. So those are great to have on hand. And then to assemble, I'm going to use a combination of the Barely Art glue, which last year I used glitter art glue, and they're the same thing, but this is the one I'm using today. And then I'll use some hot glue. I also, one more material. Sorry, there is one more. I'm using a 2mm and a 3mm cotton ball. These are the wool balls, and these will be my sheep bodies. So those are fun. And then all of the wood components, there's quite a list of them. You can download and print this little worksheet here. Here's all of the components, and if you go to the actual post itself, there's a link for every single one. And then here's a link to all the tools that I used. I did cut all of my felt out on the Cricut, so it does work really well on the Cricut. However, you are more than welcome to cut them by hand. They're very simple cuts to do. And then we have every single page here of step by step on how to make these little pieces. So go ahead and print that out if you can, and you can have that on hand to work along. But again, just to reiterate, I really do encourage you to add your own personality to this, and also some variations. I had to do a little variation today, and you'll see as I go. All right, so I have all my pieces put together. A couple of these I glued together, like these little pots that are the wise man gifts. I went ahead and glued those in just because they take a minute to dry. And then everything else is painted and Mod Podged. I have all my little peoples here ready to start to assemble. I did go ahead and add Mary's bun on the back of her head. You can see I also painted the back of her hair. We have an angel. There's the baby Jesus, and then the little guys. So you can see the color variations to just kind of get this really fun, I don't know, color palette. All right, which one? Let's start with the little guy here. So what I'm finding is I really do like the way this Barely Art glue works with the wood. I use the hot glue on some other things. If I don't have time to just sit there and hold it, then I'll go ahead and use the hot glue. One of the things that I do recommend, now some of the, if you ordered a kit before from our link, we noticed that they were giving you beads rather than balls. And I really do prefer the balls because they don't have holes in them. However, if you have beads, they work. Just use what you have. You can see here on the back of Mary's head, there's a little hole there because it's a bead, and I think that looks okay. So use what you have. I'm using this is a 3/8 inch ball for the large hands and the 1/4 inch ball for the small hands. So that's the first thing I'll do. Let's go ahead. I'm going to bring them over so we can kind of look at them as we go. So this is the finished baby, and here is the unfinished baby. You can also use Aleene's glue, Aleene's tacky glue. I think that works pretty well. I have found that this glue, once it's dry, it holds so well. Okay, I am just placing that little hand right there in that crease. So it's almost laying between the two, the head and the body. And I don't want the hands to be too close together, so I'll go ahead and give it a gap. And you can see the glue, and it will dry clear. So the trick is to have it in a place where you can hold it so that it gets tacky enough. There we go. There we go. Whoop. And of course, you know, I'm on video, so I'm slightly nervous, so that doesn't help. There's the honest truth. Okay, so if you can hold them for just a second until they get tacky, and then you can set it aside to dry, that works really well. If you want to, you can use hot glue here. I might just start using hot glue just for the speed of it, so you don't have to watch glue dry, but this gives you an idea. I really do like this glue. It does hold so well. Once it's dry, it is hard to break apart. Okay, I think that's good enough that I can just set that aside. And while that's drying, you can see that these hands are a little further apart than those, and that's okay. I'll go ahead and do the same with my angel here. I had her little hands, here she is, kind of, I wanted them to look like they were under her chin. I guess there's no, it could be a he, I don't know. Almost like, you know, crossing the hands under the chin like that. So that's why I placed them there. Again, it's up to you if you have any ideas that you want to do something different. I love everybody adding their own personality. This is going to be a little easier because you can place them together and they can hold each other. Did I hear Anna say something?
No, I do just want to let everybody know that our network is a bit unstable at the moment, but we will have a recording available later, so you won't miss a thing.
Oh, yes, sorry. There's a lot of construction going on here, I'll just say that. All right, well, those are drying, those beads are drying. I'll go ahead and start assembling the sheep because that uses the hot glue. And the sheep are made from these two different size wool balls, but I'm using the same size of egg. This is the wooden egg for their heads. And I find that wool works best with hot glue, or really nice, thick, like a Lane's tacky glue, because the fiber just soaks in the glue if it's too thin. So you pretty much just put it anywhere, but you can see I placed the glue on the back side, the thicker side of the ball. And it looks like I have a nice black hair in there, which these little tweezers are perfect for removing. I think it's inside the ball. That was from maybe the person making the balls. I don't know. All right, so that goes on really quickly. You can see how cute that is. Oh, I just love these. Do the same with this one. Just add a dot of glue. Sometimes I look at the grain of the wood and sort of follow, like I place the glue along the circular side because, you know, as you cut wood, it has lines through it. This little big-headed baby sheep here. Kind of press it in and let that tack. Then I'm going to use, just make for sure I'm doing it right here. Yeah, I'm going to use the smaller balls for the feet. Whoops, I can go ahead and pour them in my bowl. It's easier to get out. And again, you just want to add a dab of glue. With hot glue, it works the best. And then you want to kind of plan where you're putting these. I'm eyeballing it, but I'm looking at the face of my sheep here. Where would the front feet look the best? I think I need them up further because I don't want them to sit back too far. Okay, another bit of glue. If you feel like it, you can take some pins, some straight pins with balls, and place the pins into your ball to give you sort of a alignment, and then take the pin out one at a time as you place the ball. That's a really great way to make sure you get them exactly where you want to. I'm sort of winging it, so it might be a disaster. Let's find out.
Nothing's ever a disaster. I know you always say that it's imperfections is what makes it so beautiful.
Exactly. It looks like these little guys, I did use beads on this because I think I ran out of balls, and they are a little bit larger, and that's okay. It's like, again, it's use what you want. I feel like these are also, again, too far back. So I'm going to carefully pull them off and move them up. Can use the scissors to kind of cut that glue off. Whoops, sorry guys. Flying glue. So I'll look at it here. So it looks more about maybe 1/4 of an inch further up. All right, third time's a charm, right? The thing that I really love about this little set is we, made it last year, and then it's been sitting in a box for the last, 11 months. And we pull it out and it still looks adorable. It wears really well. So that's why we call it an heirloom, because you can have it, for your grandkids, your kids, etc. Okay, that looks better. That looks better. There's the little feet. And then I'll go ahead and place the other 4, or the other 2, sorry. Sometimes I need an extra hand. Anna, you've put in the links there where they can find the post for this, is that correct?
Yes.
Of course she did. She's very efficient.
I'm gonna make it easy.
Yes. Okay, so there's the sheep. Sheep 1.
This will be such a fun little craft to do over Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, it will be. I feel like you might actually want to go with a little bit larger balls because it sort of rolls. Well, that looks pretty cute though. Kind of rolls on his tummy. Or put the feet a little bit closer. That will work too. Yeah. All right. Then we're going to take, I'll put the feet on this guy in a bit, but we're going to take these little teeny ears, and this is where I like to use my white glue. And I'm just putting a bit on the tip and then adding them to the side. Very easy. This is where you can start to see the personality. I also had this thought, and it's just last minute as I'm putting the feet on, that I want a tail. So I'm going to add that to the template, but until then, I do have some extra felt here, and I'm going to make a little tail.
I think it's really fun how you kind of personalize it.
Yeah.
Gives me some ideas.
So I'm just going to cut out kind of a little teardrop similar to the ears, but smaller, and make that my little sheep tail. So this sheep is definitely laying down. Okay, I just remembered you can't use this on the wool balls because it just won't stick. So you'll have to use a little bit of the hot glue. There you go. And there's the first sheep. I'm going to do the other one in a bit just because I want to make sure and get through everything. Okay, now that we have this done, the only other addition that you need will be the little halo hat here. And again, I just used the white glue. I'm just adding a touch of glue to the center and placing it on the back of the head. And that baby is done. Then we have our little cradle here. And this was the addition that I did. I went ahead, I felt like it needed some sort of straw or hay inside. So I designed this. You can cut it out on your cutting machine, or you can also cut this by hand. It's really quite easy. I'm just going to add a bit of glue to the base, and I want to set it so that one edge, the little points are right on the edge of the bowl where the others stick up, because that's where his head will be. And that kind of helps prop him up. So it looks like that. All right, we'll put this one back. So we're done with that one. And let's finish up our angel. The angel's quite easy. I did add an additional piece in this one as well. Before I had this similar round headpiece for the angel, and I thought I want a star. So on this one, I'm going to add this star just for a little variation. I thought it had a little more sparkle to it. And then the wings, I liked the wings going down. If you want them moving upward, that's also an option. But I like them as if the angel's resting. And I'm using the point of the wing to attach the body. You can do it the other way if you want to. Again, this is your project. You do what feels best. Look how fast this goes. Once you get the painting done and the Mod Podging done, everything just really pulls together quickly. All right, the next one we're going to do is the Mary, and I painted her body in gold. Again, I put the bun on the back and painted all of that with a full strength of the terracotta. So just to make things easy, I created this little strip to go on the sides. You know, felt doesn't, unless you're sewing it, you can't really make it shape. I don't know. I felt like the easiest way to make this was just in small strips so that it would lay down nicely. So you get kind of creative with it. Placing this on her head, and I want to make sure it's even. Oh, I forgot to put her hands on. Let's do that first, because I can't put the other piece on without her hands. So her hands are going to be, I'll bring her over here. Her hands are going to be the smaller balls as well. And I put them about halfway down her body. Well, I would say maybe more like a third. I'll put them a third down her body. So it's as if she's holding her hands up so that she can hold this piece of cloth. I'm going to let that dry for a minute, just so I can glue the other piece on. And then this piece here is her cloth, and I realized that I do want it curved on the ends. I think it just looks prettier. It has more of a modern, clean look to have curves rather than straight edges. Just my aesthetic, I guess. So I'll go ahead and cut that. I'll fix it in the file though, so it's ready for you. And once that's dry, I will go ahead and glue that piece onto her hands. I'll just set her up right there. Okay, and now we're on to the Joseph. So we'll start with his hands, since I'm remembering. He has this terracotta wash on his body, and his hands are going to be the larger hands. And the way that I had it set up, I have this little piece of wood, and this, I can't, oh, I have it right here, sorry. It is a, what is it? It's an 1/8 inch dowel, and I cut it with my wire cutters. You can use, whatever you have that works. And what I'll do is go ahead and glue. I'm going to use hot glue just for speed's sake. I'll put a dab of hot glue on the top there, and then, whoops, place the bead right on top. So what I wanted it to look like as if he were holding the staff in front of him. You can see like his hands up on the staff there. Then I'll put a line of glue right down and then place that up against his body. For right now, I'm looking for the cleanest face spot. There we go. And the staff itself will sit right along the table, so it touches the table. And then the other hand, it's more down by his side, so just add a bit of glue there. You can see how fast this glue does dry. It's pretty speedy. It's just a matter of balancing it until it starts to tack up. So that is that. I'm going to set him there to dry, and once he's dry, I'll add his felt. Okay. Alrighty, let's do some of these kings. They're pretty fun. All right, this guy. He has this cute little crown here. And on this one, I did paint the top of it white, which you can do. I didn't do it today, and I'm not going to. I'll just go ahead and finish it up later. But you can add that white on the top of his head. I'm just going to add a ring of glue. I really do think, with this glue, the white glue especially, this could be a great project for kids. They can sit here and work with you on this and be the person, the one that holds it until it tacks up. It's just a fun little project. All right, then we have this little pot here with the gold top, little pot of gold that I already prepared. And I'll put that as if he's holding it right in front of him. So adding the glue. I'm going to add quite a bit. And in fact, you know what? Nope, let's do hot glue, because that's a lot to carry. Nice dab. Yes, it's a pot of gold after all. So I'm going to place it so that the pot lines up with his body like this. You can see how it lines up here. And it's about the same height, as a little bit lower than his shoulders. Okay, then we have the two balls, and I'll place the balls. I'm going to go ahead and do hot glue on this one as well, since I'm tucking it into a corner. I'll place the balls right there underneath the rim of that little flower pot. This was so fun to do because I just got a box of wood pieces, and I sat there and tried to figure out what could go where and how I could use a flower pot for a pot of gold and a ring for a hat. And you'll see as the wise men are pretty funny. Okay, that's the wise man. He's all done. Done, done, done. Unless I wanted to paint his top. All right, then let's try this little guy. He has a much bigger flower pot on his head. Again, I'm going to use the hot glue. And I'm placing it just at a bit of an angle. And then I have this little pot, this little spool that he's holding, and I'm going to have it lower on his body just for variation. Whoops. All right, there we go. And I'm using hot glue again just because I need to add some bulk there. then we'll add the 2 hands onto each side. There goes my hot glue gun. So it looks like he's holding it. Alrighty. You can see how fast this goes once you kind of have it all figured out. Now the finishing piece to this guy is we have this white piece of felt that I'm going to put around his head. I just thought he needed a little bit of extra. For this one, I'll use the white glue and maybe just a bit more white glue on each end. Whoop. And then figure out where it looks the best. I think that this particular little pot was a bit different than the first version, which they both work just fine. So if I have a bit too much of felt, whoops, on this side, I'll go ahead and trim it off. And there's king number 2. We'll put this guy back. All right, king number 3. So this one, I was going to use an upside down bowl for his hat. That was what I did originally. I have a version of that for one of the shepherds, but I didn't get one in the pack. So I found this little piece. This is a clothespin doll foot. So, you know, again, it's just about getting innovative. So I went ahead and painted that. On our list, we do have 2 bowls, but I just wanted to show you how, hey, if you don't have what you thought you wanted, you can always just have some fun. And I actually really like this. I think this is so cute. I don't know that you can find it on that side. I didn't quite look, but you can find them someplace if you prefer this type of hat. I have to add a bit more glue because it fits just right on the edge. Okay, let's see. There we go. I love this hat. I would wear that hat. Just kidding. All right. Then we have this other little gold thing, which I would say this would be the frankincense, right? And we'll place that. Let's see where it sits. It sits so that the bead almost touches his chin. So let me know if you are planning on making one of these or if you've made it last year. I'd love to hear your successes and how it worked for you. Again, just place those little hands right on the edge. There we go. For the original version of this king, make sure I had enough glue there. I might need to put a little more. He had a band around the bottom of his bowl here in felt. I don't feel like this one needs it. I think his hat's just perfect. However, he does have this cute little cape. So this is in the blue felt. I'm just adding the glue, the white glue, to the top right here. You don't need any more than that. And then it will wrap right along that edge of his body and his neck. Then you can kind of press it into place. I like pressing it into place in the points, and it has a bit of a gap on the back, and that's okay. But I like the way it kind of flares out. I think that looks super cute. All right, there is king number 3. Now let's go over to the little wise men, and then we'll come back and finish the Mary and Joseph. Okay, wise men, here we are. I'll bring these guys over. All right, these have, the first one, here's where this little upside down hat comes in. This is an upside down bowl. Thought it looked kind of cute. I'm going to fill that up with glue and place it on his head so it sits sort of backwards, or back just a little bit, not backwards. Then he has a staff, and the staff I had actually stained the brown. This one it's not stained yet, and that's okay. I can come back and do it later. You can do this with white glue, or you can do it with hot glue. I think white glue is going to be where I go with it today. Just add that line of glue right on the edge, and then place it so that the way that I saw it is it's almost slightly in front of his cheek here. So it crosses over his cheek. It's not behind him quite as much because it's like he's holding it in front of him. Take just a second to let that tack up. Then his hands are at 2 different levels of the staff. You can see that that's a bead, but that's a ball. I ran out of beads. So one at the top here, right by his shoulder, and then one almost at the center of his body. And just to make things move along, I'll go ahead and use hot glue. And try not to let the hot glue move the white glue. There we go. And there he is. There's the first one. Put him back. And then our second one, he has the same staff. But just one hand on the staff. I'm positioning it so it's right against his head, almost forward of his body, of his shoulder, I would say, in front of his shoulder. Then we'll put one hand almost up next to his shoulder. As if it's holding that, and then the other one down by his side. And that's about in the middle of his body. I should have put his hat on first, but oh well, we'll work with it. So there he is. His little hat is pretty simple. I just have this, let's see here. This is my Joseph one. Guess it's this one then. His little hat's pretty simple. It's just a strip of this felt that will go around. Let's see. So I'll put the glue right on the felt, and then we'll wrap it around his head like a headband. And I think I have too much, so I'll trim some of it off. The nice thing about this glue is it will dry clear, which is lovely. Now this headband is a bit thinner than the original headband, and you can make it thicker or keep it thin. We also have a little cape for him, and it's the same thing. Just add the glue all the way across, but then make sure it's pressed in right around his neck. Okay, and there's number 2. All right, now we'll go back to Mary here and add some glue onto this little white cloth, and I'm kind of assuming this is just what she's wrapping the baby in. That's how I was envisioning it. So I want it to drape down on both sides of her hands. You can put just an extra dab of glue down here just to sort of catch those, the lower part of her hands, the balls. Hold it in place for a second. And there she is. She is complete. And then our Joseph, he has a headband, but it's sitting up higher on his head. So I think I might assemble it first, decide how big I need it to be. Looks like there's some overlap there. Okay, I'll do that. I'll just go ahead and overlap it. I'm not going to cut it since it's sitting further up on his head. Anna, since no one is asking any questions, do you have any questions? Because I know you're going to want to make this with your kids.
I think it's such a fun little project. Very cute.
Any thoughts or questions?
Yes, how do you come up with all these amazing projects?
I don't know, it's just how my mind works.
I love it.
I like to make something out of nothing. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. Oh, this isn't nothing. I mean, these are cute shaped wood pieces and pretty felt, but you know what I mean.
Yes. So we did put a link for our newsletter sign up to make sure that our viewers don't miss any of the fun events like this one or announcements we have.
Yeah.
So some fun things coming up.
He has a cape as well. So I'll go ahead and do the same where we kind of tuck that into place. This is where the tweezers come in handy. I can take that felt and tuck it in behind his hand. That little ball. And here is the Joseph. So the one thing that I wanted to go over, I'm not going to make the other sheep right now just because I want to show you one more thing. Maybe I will, we'll see. So this little scenery set here that we made initially, the arches on this, I used 3 of them, come with this big huge set of this. I don't even remember what it's called. Anna, do you remember?
We probably have a link to it in
There's a link to it. But if you don't want to buy something that expensive and only use 3 pieces, I have another thought for you. If I had this in a round or an oval, I would absolutely use a round or an oval. This is just what I had on hand. But you can find any sort of flat platform. Then to make the beautiful roof line, I took our mobile, and this is the 3-piece mobile, and I glued it together at the center here. I don't know, I think aesthetically this set, because it is so round and modern looking, I didn't want a square roof line, and I also feel this looks a bit more authentic to who these characters are. So I thought this was just a really fun little way to do this, and this is fairly inexpensive. So you can find any type of surface. Again, if I were to go out and pick something, I would do an oval or a round piece. And this is also from the same place. You can get these little frame risers. Then I took my double riser here, which I have one over here as well, and I glued the star onto the back of it. I think this would look so cute with a little teeny delicate star popping off, maybe even sort of glittery. But I had this bigger star, so I'm like, I'll just use it as a back end, and then you can kind of place your scene inside and under. And I thought the angel could sit on top here. So what do you think? Here's my little Joseph. I'll put this together and then I'll finish the other sheep. But yeah, if you are watching this as a replay and have any questions, just put your questions in the comments and I will come in and answer them for you. I find that I'll answer them quicker if it's on our site, but I'll definitely keep an eye for questions on the YouTube. Whoops, that one's gonna go. So then you can kind of set up your dolls, your little guys. Then we'll finish our funny sheep that just seems to be taking a nap here because he's ate too much for lunch.
Can all relate to that.
Right. All right. I'm wondering if this sheep would look better with bigger feet. That's another option too. I can maybe try that since we have a few minutes. I also wanted to, anyone who's here watching live, remind you that we do have another live class tomorrow, and I will show you at the end here in a few minutes what we're going to make. I'm demonstrating a brand new crepe paper flower. a new version of a crepe paper flower. Okay, these feet seem to work better on this little guy. Don't love hot glue for the strings, but sometimes it's worth it. They're both sleeping. Or flying sheep. Because they're not seeming to sit on their feet. I'll have to readjust that. See, sometimes I can even goof up. But it still looks cute. Oh, this one's jumping. There we go. I'm going to make him a little tail. I have an extra piece over here, so I'll just cut it from here. Oh, here it is. Do that. I'll add the tail bit onto the template. So if you wait just a little bit before you download it, or you can go back and download it again once I update it. So there's the little tail. Oh, there we are. There's the little tail. And then here's my little jumping sheep, because I seem to have not gotten the legs in the right place. But they're still cute. There we go. In fact, I think the whole thing, my favorite part, are those sheep. They're just so funny. And there's the angel on top. All right, it's hard to see because it's kind of messy here, but maybe the front camera can take a peek. Or, I don't know. You can't see it very close up. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, how you would customize it for yourself or for your children or your family, whoever you're making it for. And I'd love to see your ideas over on our platform where we have a community and we share all of our projects over there. So I'd love to see those. And let's see, I'm going to show you what we're going to make tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to do a crepe paper flower, and this is a perfect beginner flower. I'm going to have Emily come in with me and make it. This is another version of a poinsettia, but I personally think it's the best one yet, and it is just using 2 colors of crepe paper. This is a 2-tone crepe paper, double-sided, and then the green, and then we're going to use these beautiful bits of glitter we add the glitter to the balls. So very, very simple, fun to make, and I love seeing it as a little gift topper. So if you're watching the replay on this, you can find this video also over on our site, or come join me tomorrow when we do it live. All right. Well, thank you for being here, and we'll see you again next time.